Spring has sprung here in Winnipeg, and with that, there's always a couple of people that are interested in moving here. And so I wanted to highlight some reasons why that maybe some people don't know that Winnipeg is a good place to move to. Okay, so this is a bit of a different video than what I typically do, but essentially there's three big things that I think a lot of people don't really appreciate about Winnipeg when they're thinking about moving here or considering other cities. And recently I've had a lot of people reach out from other parts of the world, honestly, from Europe, from other parts of Canada, that are interested about Winnipeg, and they say, you know, Winnipeg's happening, I'm so excited to move here. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And one of the biggest things is that our economy has actually put in a lot of efforts to diversify. You see, Winnipeg is mainly agriculture based, pretty robust, lots of manufacturing. But recently, a lot of our more, call it artsy type economy has really taken off. Our film industry, our music industry has really increased. We got Nobody 2, Nobody that was filmed here, lots of other movies. In fact, so many so that they've actually added direct flight paths from Los Angeles to Winnipeg, which is huge because that means we're attracting a lot of actors to come here from their previous Los Angeles homes to film movies. On top of that, Winnipeg has a ton of festivals that attracts different professionals from different types of areas that actually end up settling here. Okay, and this also highlights an important part about Winnipeg's economy is that we don't really need to push that support local propaganda, not propaganda, but that motto on people because it's really easy to start a small business here. And so it's pretty ingrained into everybody that they should just support their local business anyways. We don't need to tell them to go support local or buy local because chances are they already have all those local facilities available to them. That's because A, people are super entrepreneurial here in Winnipeg, and B, the cost of starting a business is so much cheaper. And so we don't have all these huge brands that people have to typically worry about. We have smaller, more local businesses that you can naturally support through just living here. And then you couple that with the fact that it's pretty affordable, and these businesses actually don't need to make so much money that they have to go and start 5, 6 different franchises and then panic when all of a sudden they're not making a ton of money doing all this different work here. And so that has really allowed Winnipeg's economy to become a lot more independent, meaning we have all these small businesses, and businesses fail, obviously, but they're not so dependent on the government policies, interest rates, other stuff that typically affects market conditions. Obviously, from a macro point, they are, but that's one reason why so many people are deciding to put their business here in Winnipeg, because you can start up so low and test it out and test out the waters, test different businesses, find the one that gives you passion and the one that works for you. Okay, and the other reason is everybody knows about Winnipeg's winters, but not a lot of people appreciate the summers. And not just in Winnipeg, but in Manitoba and our close access to so many amenities. I bet you didn't know that Manitoba is actually home to over 100,000 lakes, meaning that lake country and that lake life is actually not that far away. You can get to a lake within an hour from Winnipeg, pretty much anywhere you live, and really nice lake country and cabins and all that stuff within about 2 hours. And so if you're an outdoorsy person, there's tons of stuff to do here in the summer, in the spring, in the fall, and even in the winter, because, you know, you can go ice fishing. You can even camp in the winter. I mean, it's pretty cool, but you could still do it. And I think a lot of people don't really appreciate that. Even though the winters here suck, the summers are so nice. And it's not like it's bad in the winter and bad in the summer, like the Arctic, like some people think it is. It's actually more of a case where it's bad in the winter, but at the same time, if it's minus 10 or minus 15, are you really doing anything different? Probably not. But plus 30 degrees Celsius in the summer, being able to jump into the cool, refreshing lake, that's an awesome experience. And so that's like, a lot of people really appreciate that about Winnipeg. And I don't think a lot of people actually understand that. And I mean, even if you're bored of lake life and stuff like that, there's so many nice parks. Like, look where I'm standing right now, just in the pretty close to my neighborhood in a nice park here. There's lots of basketball hoops. This is an awesome place to hang out, right? This is an awesome place, right? And the last thing, and maybe one of the most important one, and we touched on this when we're talking about the economy, but Winnipeg is one of the last affordable markets here in Canada. And I think a lot of people understand this, but it's more than that, because I think Winnipeg is one of the last places where you can actually live within your means. A lot of other places in Canada, when you buy that house, you're going to be house poor. You're not going to have the money to travel or do other stuff you like. And I'm a prime example of that because I love traveling. I've been to over 20 countries. I want to go to all 7 continents. I've taken months off of work to travel, and you don't get those those opportunities if you live somewhere where you can't save money. And that's where Winnipeg really is. It's great to live here, but it's also great to be able to go and do other stuff, follow your dreams, follow your passions. So whether your passion is starting a small business and taking that off the ground, traveling the world, trying new stuff, I think Winnipeg is the perfect place to try those opportunities. And to touch on that, so many companies have realized that Winnipeg is such a good place to try stuff that they actually test out apps and new companies and other business models here, because Winnipeg has what's called a high adoptability rate. And so if Winnipeg won't do it, chances are other markets won't do it. And so actually it's lower risk to start a company here and try and live here and follow your dreams. And so because of that, I think there's a multitude of reasons that Winnipeg is a great place to live. And that's why I choose to call this place home. Now, obviously, I recognize there's flaws with Winnipeg too, but I really think right now in Canada, every place has crime, every place has drug problems. And I've actually had clients from Vancouver come here and say, yeah, you know what, it's worse in Vancouver. And so, Winnipeg isn't really that bad. Ignore a lot of those news headlines that you see. They're mainly concentrated in a small area. And if you're interested in moving to Winnipeg, reach out, let's discuss it, and maybe you could try and prove me wrong. I don't think you will, but you could try.